Good afternoon. I want to show you today how to work with Photoshop or to manipulate your pictures. When we have a picture where the background perhaps doesn't work out or we're not 100% sure if we can change the color, perhaps we want a flower and we want to change the tonal values of the flower, perhaps it's blue flower like I'm going to show you, and you want to change it to a pink flower and just see how it looks before you start painting it. And that's just what I'm going to show you. Now, I'm going to share my screen so that I move backwards. And what I do is I open Photoshop. Now, Photoshop is the program that I like using. Just want to move this down. I think I can move that down. Like that. In fact, let me move it away. I've got two screens I'm working with, which shouldn't concern me at the moment. So I've got a very clean canvas, if I can put it like that. So I am going to explain that we are working with layers. There is different layers that you put on top of each other. So that if I want to have a background, I can always add another picture or another picture on top of that same background. Very exciting. So let's open a background. I'm just going to open that with Photoshop and that will pop in here. The background has been painted already and this is the abstract that we've done. And we want to add something on here. So that you can see is a background. I am going to duplicate the layer and I'm going to call that abstract. Right, now you will start seeing, I'll keep on reminding you to look at this area here. I am also going to open another picture. So there's another picture and I want to take this one and I'm going to hold it down and I'm going to drag it to my abstract painting. Fantastic. Now, let's see if this abstract painting will work on here. Now, on the right-hand side, you'll see different layers. There's a little eye there. If I take the eye away, I can decide if I want this away. Let's open another picture with Photoshop. And it will open at the top here. It will open as an individual picture. So if I click on that, it will lie there. So there's the original, and there's the one that I am actually layering. So I'm taking the rose, also grabbing it and taking it to that background layer and plonk it on top. Now this is a much bigger picture. Let's just rescale that down completely. So I'm holding in the shift button so that I don't distort the picture at all. So I hold in the shift and just get my size sorted out. What did I do? The rose is just gone. Let's just take it perhaps from here. I'm sorry. And layer from a background. And that's fine. I'm going to take this, I'm going to make this much smaller, holding in my shift button, and I can go back there, select that, and edit. I'm going to the layer. Let's crop that. Apply. And let's just make this picture much smaller. And crop. So now it's much smaller. Let's take it now. These buttons on the left hand side is what your mouse is capable to do. If I click on that, for instance, this is what the mouse will do. So I can't select this picture if my mouse doesn't allow me to click the picture. So this is your language you're talking to this picture. I want to select it. So I click there, it gives me handles. I'm going to grab it again and move it into my background there. Let's see what happens. Much smaller. That's better, holding down my shift key and resizing that. Take that whole big picture which we couldn't find earlier and apply that click on the background. You'll see how big it is. I'm going to remove that. Let's take the rose. I'm selecting the rose. If I want to select that one, I can click on it, or I can go on the right hand side and select the different layers. So now I'm putting my rose there. If I click the eye again, the rose will move. Now, the rose will move. I want to see if this rose can fit onto this background. Clicking on the rose, selecting the rose, there is an opacity. I'll change my opacity to very fine. Let's take away the blue flower. Opacity can be a little bit higher, a little bit more. I just want to see the background. Now I'm going to take the eraser. So I select the eraser here. Then for each and every one of these things, there is an option, how big you can go, how strong you want to go, and so forth. So that's the size and the hardness. I don't want it to be, we can select that. Look at the size there, that's perfect. So I must make sure that I'm on the rose here. So on the rose, I'm going to take the eraser and I erase the background of the rose that I have currently. When we change the opacity back again, you will see that I'm not doing such a great job at the moment because we have to bring the rose back again. Let's take that away. And if you want to really go into those sections there, there's another option to do that. Let's take that away. Let's bring the rose's opacity up. But can you see, let's just do that. That doesn't look bad at all. Now, if I take the rose again, select the rose, and I can move the rose around. So that background is not so bad, but I want to also remove that. So I'm going to select my magic tool wand and go into that and delete that. And go into that and delete that. Just make sure we don't delete the leaves at all. Being an abstract painting, if we do delete some of the leaves, oh, if I do that, can you see what happens? Then you go back and you undo. Let's click outside the blocks again and see what we've got. Right, that doesn't look too bad. Let's just select the rose again. Just want to see what is still stuck there. It doesn't look bad, but perhaps we can change the background of it. There's still a mess going on there. Taking my eraser and erase that pink area. Can erase some of that. If I want to change my background, I'm going to select the background. Now, if I move this around now, can you see the background is moving? Not the rose, because I selected it here. So that goes there. So for that abstract, I'm going to take the background away. And for the abstract, I'm going to double click. And I am going to select the properties, if I can put it that way, the properties of this painting. I don't know, I'm not quite sure what they call it. Filters, create, adjustment layers. So on my background now, I can decide if I want to change all the pinks and the reds and what will suit the background. This is absolutely amazing. Can you see how you play with that? I like that pink. Now that pink, let's lift it up a little bit. So I'm going to go to the lightness and light that up, or the saturation, that will go. We lost a little bit of contrast, but I'm happy with what we've got. Close that. I want to make more leaves, so I'm going to clone these leaves here. By doing that, I need to make sure that I select the rose. So I go back, click the rose. If I remove the rose, now remember, There, I'm going to select something. That's not what I want to do. So escape. Go back to your first tool. It's called the Move tool. Click on the Move tool. So there I can move the rows. What I want to do is I want to add more leaves. I'm going to, then there's a clone button. You clone on there. Make sure you're on the rows. Go to your clone options and make the clone a little bit smaller. Right. Now, hold down your Alt key, click on, let's take this leaf, and I'm going to place that leaf right there. So there's another leaf going. Don't repeat it too far, otherwise you'll see the duplication. This small little leaf there, let's take those, all three of those leaves, and let's go add them there. If you don't like that, just undo. Let's take those three leaves, let's put them there. Let's go back, click on your Alt button there and clone that. That little leaf there, we can do a lot with that. Beautiful, actually lies nicely there, and we can clone it again by putting it this side. And that's how it works. If I want to add more petals to this, right, let's take this petal. I hold in my Alt key, hold Alt, and I want to add the petal. Undo. I want to add that area from there. And there goes more petals. So you get my point. Don't want to do that. Okay, perhaps I want to make the rose a bit more richer. So I make sure I click the rose. Click the rose, make sure it's been selected. Go back to the layer adjustments, and let's go have a look at what that can offer me. I can colorize it, but then it colorizes the whole thing. I'm not always sure why it does that. I want to take out the abstract. Let's take that now. Perhaps it works. I normally change my adjustments on the other side. Let's go to Hue and Saturation. Let's colorize only that. Let's bring in a little bit more pinkish. It gives you more, that's beautiful. That gives you a little bit more antique look. Let's take that back, bring back the background, and unfortunately it changed the background as well. If you don't like that, just go to that button and remove the eye. Okay. Now, let's remove the rose, because we also want to work, we're not 100% sure if we want to paint the rose, so let's see what we can do with this flower. Exactly the same thing. How big do you want your flower? Perhaps we want to make this a bit bigger. So we just want to use some of the background there. Let's add it there, and let's bring it from the bottom of this painting. Now, let's apply. I'm going to select my magic wand immediately, and I'm going to remove what I can. And click there on the white areas and remove that, what you can. That works, but now the edges are very, very hard. So let's go and change the edges by using the paintbrush. So we go to the paintbrush, and this is very big. So let's go back there. Let's make the size smaller, and let's click on that. We can go a little bit bigger, and we'll soften. Undo, undo. We actually want the eraser. I'm sorry about that. We want the eraser, but we want the eraser to be soft, soft, soft. So let's go back there. Let's make the size bigger. Let's make sure it's as soft as can be. And just to bring this in take some of that away. So that gives you a very good idea of composition. You can then take this and you can turn it around, bring it down over, select that. It's not too bad. Let's apply. Let's take it a little bit up and so forth. Now, let's have it there. The problem we have at the moment is that these stems are too short. So let's go make them bigger. First of all, I want to use my eraser again just to soften those areas. Soften that a bit. And before we take that away, let's clone that. I can select that area from there. I wanted to select square, but the flower is not square. So just another selection will be the polylasso. So I'm going to click that and that and that and that. Just want to make sure it's there. I'm going to say edit, copy, merge, and I'm going to paste it immediately. When I pasted it, it's still lying there, so I'm going to move this over, put it back in there, and make it fit. Okay, so you get the idea of how this works. There is so many other options that you can use, and it's very complex. But this is a very good start. This is really not advanced. It's just the beginning of it. Well, you can also clone this. By cloning, it's easy. Make sure we've got the flower and we select the Alt button. And if you don't know, the moment you click on it and you want to clone, it will tell you that, oh, you can't clone here. So I'm going to clone, hold my Alt button, hold the Alt button, and I am going to clone and make this longer. Take that one and make that longer. Take it from there again and make it even longer. Okay. It's not necessary because at the end of the day, all I want to do is just move this flower down, but I can manipulate that. Okay. Right, so that works. I don't like this. So let's go to the eraser and let's make it a little bit smaller so that it fits into that. And I'm going to soften that area as well. Let's soften this out. Okay, you can even take that away. So that is how it works. I can bring the rose back and play between the two backgrounds and see which one is better for me. Okay? And that's what we do with Photoshop. I am going to not save this as such. I just want you to understand that before you start painting, there's so many nice options to really look at the composition, the colors, and that's what we're doing. By just manipulating your picture. It's really a tool that you can try and master. The artist always has a photo. And having a photo means you always take photos and you're not always happy or unsure about the outcome, and you can always come and edit it here. Right. Thank you very much for watching. I really hope that helps you a lot. I don't always know where to stop this, so let's just bring this back and stop recording, I suppose. The screen is sharing, and there we stop recording, I think. And, oh, I have to say goodbye to you properly before I can just go. I can't just exit everything. So have a lovely day and enjoy editing your pictures.